Hey guys, we have more exciting news on the COVID front today. Yes, that's right. We have a third COVID vaccine candidate that is showing favorable results, which guys, this is so exciting and it makes me so hopeful. This is the Astra Zeneca vaccine, also called the Oxford vaccine, actually because it's being developed at the University of Oxford. So if you're wondering why that's the case, that is why it's named as such. And this vaccine just released some preliminary data. It is saying that it is 70% effective. And they actually say the average efficacy or effectiveness is 70% for this vaccine. So we're going to talk a little bit about that because it's super important. First thing is you might be thinking, wait a minute, 70%? That sounds a lot lower than them other vaccines. If you're saying that, you wouldn't be alone, because remember, we've talked about the Moderna vaccine, the Pfizer vaccine, as they have released preliminary results. You probably remember Moderna has vaccine effectiveness reported at about 94.5%, and Pfizer says it's about 95% effective, which, by the way, those numbers are astronomical, like in the stratosphere, which is amazing. So if you're saying, why is this only 70%? What's wrong with this one? First of all, I get it, because when you compare the two, they definitely seem different. And we also started out with like these amazing numbers. It's hard not to think that 70% is lower. But a couple things to keep in mind about that. First of all, we have to remember that the threshold that the FDA set for COVID vaccine effectiveness is 50%. So with 90%, we were knocking it out of the park. 70% is still pretty darn good. So when we put it into perspective and into context, we have to remember that. So what's really interesting with this trial is that AstraZeneca actually tried out two different dosing regimens with it, and they came up with different results, and that's how we get the 70%. So the first dosing regimen, they actually gave a half dose of the vaccine, followed by, after a month, a full dose of the vaccine. Okay, remember, this is a 2-dose vaccine. It's going to be separated by a month or so, at least it seems. So when they did that regimen, a half dose of the vaccine and then a month later a full dose, actually they got a 90% effectiveness of this vaccine, which is like, wowzers. And then they also tried another regimen, which was, believe it or not, 2 full doses. So they gave a full dose to some people, and then they waited a month and then gave another full dose. Well, believe it or not, even though technically the second regimen was 2 full doses, that only had a 62% efficacy, which I know, it's like, scratch your head, like, why is that? And when you average the 62% and the 90% of both regimens, you get around 70%. So that's how we're getting that effectiveness number. Now, I know you're going to ask, you're going to be like, well, why is that the case? Why is that happening? I don't know that scientists know right now why the second regimen gave a lower effectiveness. So they're going to have to take a look into that, which I know they will, which is a good thing. So we have to wait and see what the data shows, but super interesting. Okay, a couple other things I want you to know. You're going to want to know this, okay? No serious safety events related to the vaccine have been confirmed. Yes. And no hospitalizations or severe cases of COVID in participants have been reported either, which is awesome. Now, you may remember I did a video on this a couple of months ago. The AstraZeneca vaccine, this one, was actually halted a couple of months ago because somebody in the trial developed neurological symptoms. You remember this? And just so you know what happened, after a pause, the trial did continue on because the regulators and investigators actually determined that the patient's neurological condition didn't have anything to do with the vaccine. So if you're kind of remembering something like that, it was this vaccine candidate. But they went on, and these are the results, which is awesome. And then finally, the other thing I think is super interesting to know is that this vaccine may be a little bit easier to get around the world and literally to people around the world. And the reason why is because this vaccine can be stored between 2 and 8 degrees Celsius, which is about 36 to 46 degrees Fahrenheit, which is kind of like a normal temperature, right? Normal to be able to store things at, right? You don't need any ultra cold freezers or things like that. Remember, with Moderna and Pfizer vaccines, we need cold storage. And the Pfizer one is the one that needs to be kept at like minus 94 degrees Fahrenheit, which, by the way, is super cold. So that's a really good thing about this vaccine, is that it just may be easier to manage, to handle, to have, to keep, to store, and to make sure many places can have. And the other thing, this vaccine is also supposed to be cheaper. So woohoo! So we have to wait and see what the data still continues to show. We have to wait for the published data. We have to look at it, take a look at it, all that good stuff. And there's still more to come, more studies still yet to be had. But I think this is really great interim information. Sort of really gives us a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel, along with the other vaccine candidates, which is awesome. So guys, I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please share it with others. And if you've not subscribed to my channel, I invite you to do so. And don't forget to hit the little bell for updates as well. Guys, I am Dr. Jen. I will see you soon.